German coalition talks appeared to have broken a serious impasse on Tuesday. This came after a compromise deal was announced over new rules for admitting the relatives of war refugees into the country. Under the deal, Germany's would-be coalition parties agreed to extend a moratorium on refugee family reunification, which went into effect in 2016, until August this year. Accordingly, the country will take in only 1,000 family members of refugees per month, as well as an undefined number of the so-called hardship cases after August.
The German mainstream media is saying now that this is a minor point within the whole range of much more urgent questions that have to be addressed among the coalitionists. For example, questions in the healthcare sector, in the job sector. So this really shows you that this is not a breakthrough. Unfortunately, Germany is still stuck and is increasingly stuck in a dead-end situation. Last point for Mrs. Merkel. Remember, it wasn't long ago when the Western elite and the mainstream media hailed her as the new leader of the free West world. But I think that particular narrative has now melted like a snowflake in hell.
Chancellor Angela Merkel's center-right bloc, the CDU, and the Social Democrats, the SPD, had failed to reach a deal over refugees' rights for the past 4 months. Critics said the policy opened the door to unlimited migration. Merkel's government responded to the pressure with the moratorium. Still, the failure of parties to reach a deal over this issue is believed to have had negative impacts on the German political structure. Most importantly, it is believed to have already undermined Germany's position inside the European Union.
So the lack of any reflection of this dynamic within the coalition talks, that the leaders of this party, of these parties, have created the situation by themselves, by their own wrongdoing, it shows really an astounding capability to black out any reality. And I think that has already spelled the doom of the German political system and of that of the European Unions, because they are largely the same thing seen among the electorate. The failure of changing directionality has undermined both Germany, I think, and the EU's position in a wider and a global context.
Meanwhile, there have been criticisms inside coalition parties against Tuesday's compromise deal. Some members of the SPD are already criticizing that nothing specific other than what was already in place has been achieved. And these are adding to the concerns that coalition talks would falter again before a deadline that expires on February the 4th. This would add more strains on Germany's position inside the EU and would to the same degree benefit the country's bloc rivals like France and even Russia.
Well, I think that the German party leadership has the Social Democrats and the Christian Union parties have totally failed to reflect on what has been happening to other party leaders throughout Europe in the last, I'd say, 10 years, especially after the financial crash of 2008. The voters know it, that this system is broken, and the inability to fix this broken system, which still works for a handful of people who really control the system of banking and gambling, and is not really a system that is functioning for the common good.
Germany's coalition parties still have several other issues to agree on. The most difficult topics to discuss will be employment and healthy policy. These will clearly make the coalition talks over the next few days extremely important. What is at stake now is Chancellor Merkel's future. This is because the failure of the parties to coalition talks to reach a final compromise would deny Merkel a further 4-year term in office.